Ladies and gentlemen, what is the greatest tragedy in life? It is not death. The greatest tragedy in life is living without knowing who you truly are. Every morning when you wake up, you face the mirror. But do you see your true self, or just a reflection shaped by others' expectations? The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but living without self-discovery. Death is inevitable for every human being, but failing to discover who you truly are means living your entire life without ever stepping into your purpose. Self-discovery is the foundation upon which destiny is built. Without it, a person can spend their whole existence chasing shadows, imitating others, and conforming to expectations that were never meant for them. Imagine spending decades climbing a ladder only to realize at the end that it was leaning against the wrong wall. That is what it means to live without self-discovery, success without fulfillment, activity without purpose, and existence without meaning. Every human being is born with potential, but potential must be unlocked by understanding identity. If you do not know who you are, you will not know what you can do. And if you do not know what you can do, you will live by default instead of by design. So many people define themselves by temporary labels such as titles, careers, achievements, or relationships. But those things can change and disappear. The true self is deeper than position, education, or reputation. Until a person discovers that inner identity, they will always remain at the mercy of external circumstances. Self-discovery is the compass of life. It gives direction in moments of confusion and clarity in times of doubt. Without it, a person becomes vulnerable to living someone else's dream, chasing society's definition of success, and measuring their worth by comparison. That is why people with great wealth can still feel empty, and those with great recognition can still feel lost. Material things cannot replace the void of identity. The absence of self-discovery leaves a person constantly searching for validation, approval, and acceptance from others, never realizing that the greatest approval must come from within. Living without self-discovery also breeds frustration. When you operate outside of your true identity, you are like a fish trying to climb a tree, or a bird trying to swim in the ocean. You may work hard, but you will always feel limited because you are functioning outside of your natural design. Many people settle into jobs they dislike, relationships that do not reflect their values, and lifestyles that suffocate their true passions. Over time, this disconnect creates discouragement and dissatisfaction because the soul knows when it is not aligned with its true purpose. The greatest gift you can give to yourself and the world is to discover who you are. Once you know yourself, you stop competing and start creating. You stop imitating and begin innovating. You are no longer tossed around by opinions or controlled by fear, because your identity gives you stability. Every person was created with uniqueness, something that no one else can replicate. Living without self-discovery means leaving that gift buried inside, robbing not only yourself, but also the world of what you were meant to contribute. Therefore, the tragedy is not in dying, for death is certain. The tragedy is in reaching the end of your life, never having met yourself, never having known your potential, and never having walked in your true purpose. To live without self-discovery is to live without clarity, without fulfillment, and without the joy of becoming the person you were always meant to be. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are prepared to become. This truth is one of the most sobering and empowering realities of human existence. Wanting something is easy. Desiring success, wealth, influence, or fulfillment is natural for every human being. But life does not respond to desire alone. It responds to preparation. Wanting without preparation is like planting a seed in barren ground. Nothing grows because the environment is not ready to sustain it. In the same way, a dream without preparation cannot survive the weight of reality. Preparation is what separates wishful thinking from purposeful living. Many people carry great dreams in their hearts, but never experience them, not because the dream is impossible, but because they never position themselves to handle its fulfillment. Life requires readiness. A person who desires success, but is not disciplined, will find themselves frustrated. A person who wants influence, but has not developed character, will collapse under pressure. Life does not deny them because of lack of desire, but because they lack the preparation that transforms desire into destiny. The principle is simple yet powerful. Desire attracts vision, but preparation attracts manifestation. Everyone wants a better future, but not everyone is willing to prepare for it. Preparation requires sacrifice, time, effort, and patience. It means developing the skills, mindset, and habits necessary for the future you envision. For example, a person may dream of leading others, but without first learning discipline, humility, and service, their leadership will be shallow and destructive. Life cannot entrust them with what they have not prepared to carry. Preparation also builds capacity. Without capacity, blessings can become burdens. Think of a person who suddenly receives wealth without the wisdom to manage it. That wealth often destroys them, not because money is evil, but because they were not prepared for its responsibility. Preparation enlarges your inner foundation so that when opportunities arrive, you have the strength and stability to sustain them. This is why some people succeed quickly, but collapse just as quickly. They skip the process of preparation. Life also tests your readiness. Difficulties, delays, and challenges are not always barriers. Sometimes they are classrooms. They force you to grow, to sharpen your character, and to deepen your resilience. Through these experiences, you become the kind of person capable of handling greater responsibilities. Life uses preparation as a filter. It does not withhold what you want out of cruelty. It withholds it until you have become the person who can handle it. This principle teaches us to stop blaming life for what we lack and instead to evaluate our level of preparation. If you want more, you must become more. If you want opportunities, you must cultivate excellence. If you want relationships that are meaningful, you must prepare yourself to be the kind of person who contributes meaningfully. Preparation is proof that you believe in your future. Without preparation, wanting is just wishing. With preparation, wanting becomes destiny. In the end, what you receive in life is not a reflection of your desires, but of your development. Life pays not according to what you dream, but according to what you have become. This is why preparation is not optional, it is essential. By preparing daily, by growing consistently, by stretching your capacity and refining your character, you align yourself with the future you desire. Life will always match your level of preparation, never your level of wishful wanting. Your job, past, and circumstances do not define your identity, because identity is deeper than external conditions. Too many people tie their sense of self-worth to what they do, where they come from, or what they have been through. A person introduces themselves by their job title and begins to believe that without that role, they are nothing. Another person feels trapped by the mistakes or pain of their past and assumes those experiences permanently define who they are. Still others allow their current circumstances, poverty, failure, rejection, or hardship, to convince them that they are limited, powerless, or unworthy. Yet identity is not built on shifting conditions. It is rooted in something unchangeable within. A job is temporary, a position that can be gained or lost. If identity is tied to it, then the loss of the job feels like the loss of self. This is why many people spiral into despair when careers end or when retirement comes. They do not know who they are apart from their role. But the truth is that your work is an expression of your identity, not the source of it. Who you are shapes what you do, not the other way around. You can lose a job but not your gifts. You can lose a title but not your purpose. The essence of your being is not tied to employment, but to the value and uniqueness you carry inside. The past also holds many people hostage. Past mistakes whisper shame, past pain speaks of brokenness, and past failures replay as constant reminders of inadequacy. But the past is history. It cannot define who you are becoming unless you allow it to. Every person has a story filled with both victories and regrets, but those moments are chapters, not the full book. To confuse the past with identity is to freeze your life in one moment and deny yourself the freedom to grow. Identity is not determined by where you have been, but by the potential of where you are going. What happened to you may shape your perspective, but it does not dictate your worth. Circumstances are another deceptive measure of identity. People living in difficult conditions may begin to believe that their identity is equal to their struggle. Poverty whispers that you are less. Failure suggests that you are weak. Hardship convinces you that you are defeated. Yet circumstances are external, they are the weather of life, and weather changes. Your inner identity remains constant regardless of external storms. To tie your self-worth to circumstances is to live on unstable ground, rising and falling with every change. But when identity is rooted in something deeper, you can face circumstances with strength, knowing they are temporary and do not define who you are. True identity is anchored within. It is the recognition that your worth is inherent, not earned. It does not increase with success or decrease with failure. It does not vanish when jobs end or when people walk away. It is not stained by the past or trapped by circumstances. Identity is connected to purpose, to the uniqueness you were born with, and to the value you bring to the world. That is why some of the most impactful people in history came from humble beginnings or broken pasts. Because they understood that their circumstances did not determine their identity. When you live from this truth, you no longer need to prove yourself by titles, possessions, or achievements. You live free, secure, and empowered, knowing that who you are is unshakable, regardless of what happens around you. Finding yourself is a daily pursuit, not a one-time event, because self-discovery is a lifelong journey rather than a single destination. Many people believe that discovering who they are will happen in a dramatic moment of clarity or through one experience that reveals everything about them. But identity is not static. It evolves, deepens, and unfolds with every season of life. Each day brings new challenges, opportunities, and lessons that peel back another layer of understanding. To find yourself daily means embracing growth, being open to transformation, and committing to constant reflection on who you are becoming. Every morning you wake up, you are faced with choices that shape your identity. The way you think, the habits you cultivate, and the priorities you set all contribute to the person you are discovering. If self-discovery were a one-time event, it would ignore the reality that life changes and people change. What you knew about yourself yesterday may no longer be enough to carry you into tomorrow. That is why self-discovery must be practiced daily. It is the only way to stay aligned with your evolving potential. Life is filled with pressures that try to pull you away from your authentic self. Expectations from society, family, and peers often push people to conform rather than to discover. Without intentional daily pursuit, it is easy to drift into living by other people's definitions instead of your own. By finding yourself every day, you reclaim your identity from those influences and anchor yourself in your true values and purpose. This practice ensures that you are not living on autopilot, but consciously choosing the direction of your life. Finding yourself daily also means learning from both victories and failures. Success reveals strengths, but failure reveals resilience, and both are essential for growth. Each day offers lessons that shape character and sharpen self-awareness. By reflecting on these lessons, you continue to discover new aspects of your personality, passions, and potential. It is not about being perfect, but about being present enough to recognize the wisdom hidden in each experience. The daily pursuit of self-discovery also requires discipline. It means creating habits of introspection, prayer, meditation, journaling, or simply quiet reflection to ask questions like, who am I today? Am I living in alignment with my values? Am I moving closer to the person I want to become? These small moments of awareness compound over time, leading to greater clarity and purpose. Without this discipline, life can pass by in routine, and years can slip away without ever truly knowing yourself. Most importantly, finding yourself daily keeps you adaptable and ready for change. Seasons of life will bring transitions in careers, relationships, health, and opportunities. If identity is tied to a single event or definition, change becomes threatening because it feels like losing yourself. But if you view self-discovery as a daily pursuit, change becomes an opportunity to explore new dimensions of who you are. Instead of being shaken by transitions, you are empowered by them because you understand that identity is not fixed, but continually unfolding. To find yourself every day is to embrace life with curiosity, humility, and courage. It is to wake up knowing that who you are is not just what you were yesterday, but what you choose to become today. It is a journey that never ends because every new day reveals another layer of your identity, another chance to align with purpose, and another opportunity to live more authentically. The world needs your authentic self, not a copy of someone else, because originality is the greatest contribution you can give. Every human being is born with a unique combination of gifts, ideas, and perspectives that no one else in history can duplicate. When you hide behind imitation or try to fit into molds created by others, you deny the world the treasure of your true self. Copies may look acceptable on the surface, but they add no real value because they bring nothing new. Authenticity, however, introduces something fresh, powerful, and irreplaceable that only you can offer. Too many people spend their lives comparing themselves to others, trying to mirror the lives of celebrities, leaders, or peers. They adjust their voice, their style, even their dreams to match someone else's, believing that duplication guarantees success. But imitation always falls short because it is not rooted in truth. A copy can never carry the same authority or impact as the original. When you attempt to live as someone else, you abandon your own path and reduce your influence to a shadow. You may gain attention, but you will not experience fulfillment, because deep inside you know you are not living your own truth. Authenticity is what connects you to others on a deeper level. People are drawn to those who are real, not those who pretend. Your struggles, your strengths, your unique way of thinking, all of these resonate far more than a polished mask of imitation. The world is already filled with copies, repetitions, and recycled ideas. What it is lacking is the courage of individuals willing to embrace who they are without apology. When you live authentically, you not only set yourself free, but also inspire others to do the same. Your originality gives others permission to embrace theirs. Living authentically also unlocks your greatest potential. You cannot fully maximize your gifts if you are trying to operate in someone else's identity. It is like wearing clothes that do not fit. They may look good on another person, but on you they are uncomfortable and restrictive. Your true self is designed to fit perfectly with the purpose you were created for. When you embrace authenticity, you begin to function with ease, passion, and power because you are aligned with your natural design. That alignment produces creativity, innovation, and impact that imitation could never achieve. The world's greatest breakthroughs and revolutions were birthed not by copies, but by originals. Those who dared to think differently, act differently, and live authentically changed history. They refused to conform to the expectations of their time, and instead brought forth ideas that no one had seen before. If they had chosen to imitate, the world would have remained unchanged. Likewise, your authenticity carries solutions, insights, and contributions that cannot be replaced. If you withhold them, the world suffers a loss it may never recover. Authenticity also brings peace. When you are no longer striving to be someone else, you find freedom in simply being yourself. That peace allows you to focus your energy on growth, creativity, and contribution instead of on maintaining appearances. Pretending is exhausting, but authenticity is liberating. The more authentic you are, the lighter life feels because you are not burdened by comparison or pretense. Ultimately, the world does not need another version of someone else. It needs the full expression of you. Your voice, your perspective, your story, and your gift matter in ways you may not even realize. By choosing authenticity, you step into a life of impact, fulfillment, and legacy, leaving behind something that only you could give.